and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at every Premier League club and the worst refereeing decision that has ever cost that team, in all competitions as well. And yeah, let me know in the comment section below your worst ever refereeing performance that you've ever witnessed. I certainly know mine.
Richard Dunn lost out. Oh, Henri! Oh, it's in the net. It's a goal. McShane has put it into his own goal.
Yeah, that night I felt like jamming my head in a f***ing toaster. Arsenal, this was the most laughable decision I've ever seen in my life. The scores are level in the Champions League second leg at the Nou Camp. Barcelona are teetering on a knife edge. And then Robin van Persie gets sent off for kicking the ball away. Already on a yellow, he was pulled up for offside, then took his shot anyway, and was sent off for wasting time. The only waste of time here was when the ref got his goddamn coaching badges. He was sent off despite the fact this is one whistle in a crowd of 90,000. Despite the fact that he took the shot literally 1.2 seconds after the whistle went. Like, what a total joke. Bournemouth versus Man City, September 2017. A game where Mike Dean managed to offend everyone. With the game poised at 1-1, an additional 5 minutes was added on. And maybe Dean was wearing a different watch to everyone else because those 5 minutes turned into 10. Just long enough for City to bag the winner. But even then he still found a way to piss off Man City by sending Raheem Sterling off for celebrating too hard, which then sent the likes of Bobby Zamora into a keyboard meltdown.
Celebrate a goal now. Absolute joke setting Sterling off. Have to say now I'm not playing, but Mike Dean is the worst. Hashtag arrogant.
Yeah, I don't know if Dean ran over Zamora's cat in the driveway or what, because he's still f***ing at it.
Shocking ref, arrogant. Not for me at all.
Thankfully he's since learned how to spell the word arrogant. Brighton won, Burnley 3 in February. Chris Hughton is probably the nicest man in football, so when you see him angry, you know something is up. Honestly, you could kick him in the shin and he'd probably end up shaking your hand. But no, he was pissed off when referee Stuart Atwell gave absolutely nothing when Jeff Hendrick clearly handballed in the box. Then again, considering what happened in Paris 10 years ago, Irish players should probably be allowed to handball whenever they please. Either that or just have Henri chucked off a cliff. Burnley. Remember Brian Laws? I mean, probably not, he was goddamn woeful. But while he couldn't manage his way out of a paper bag, he did have a right to be angry after the 1-0 loss to Blackburn in March 2010. With David Dunn scoring a penalty after the ref had ruled that Brian Jensen had fouled Martin Olsen in the box. Yeah, the only person tripping was the goddamn linesman. Can you not see the clear dive? Even I can see it and I'm stuck 9 years in the future. Cardiff City. We don't have to go back too far for Cardiff. They've been getting bent over a desk by refereeing decisions all season long. 1-0 up against Chelsea with 5 minutes left. I'm convinced they'd have stayed up if they'd won that. But no, the officials failed to spot Cesar Azpilicueta's blatantly offside goal. Didn't send off Antonio Rudiger when he dragged back Kenan Zohore through own goal. Before Loftus-Cheek scored the winner and forcing Neil Warnock to stare down the officials with the same face your mother does when you scratch her car. Actually no, my mother probably just drowned me in a bath. Chelsea. Oh, where do we start with Chelsea? Obviously the big one is the Champions League semi-final with Barcelona 10 years ago, where Tom Avrebo missed at least 4 penalty shouts before Iniesta scored a last-minute equaliser to put Chelsea out and forcing Didier Drogba to terrify the cameraman to within an inch of his life. Other nominations: Luis Suarez scoring a last-minute equaliser at Stamford Bridge, roughly 10 minutes after he tried to eat the f***ing right back. Like, how are you not going to send off a man for having a cannibalistic dinner on the pitch? Oh, and there was also Nemanja Matic getting sent off after reacting angrily to Ashley Barnes nearly breaking his leg. That is the equivalent of sending someone to jail after they took umbrage with someone trying to burn down their f***ing house. Barnes, by the way, has actually had issues with referees before, after tripping one for Brighton, and most recently getting a yellow card for trying to neck on with Joe Bennett's nose. Crystal Palace. Yes, Neil Warnock is the type of man who'd probably kick up a fuss if his dinner was cold. But to be fair, he has been on the end of some horrendous decisions. Not least getting relegated by an illegally bought player. This is by far the worst though. August 2009, Freddie Sears gives Crystal Palace the lead at Bristol City, only for it to be chalked off because the officials didn't think it went in the net. Probably the only 3 people in the stadium who didn't. Like, what did they think was happening? Did they think all the Palace players were just trying to fool everyone in the ground by celebrating a shot that hit the post? A win for Palace would have put them second in the league. They ended up finishing 21st instead. Everton. Remember that year Everton finished 4th? You've probably forgotten because they never actually ended up in the Champions League. But by God they could have, and we could have seen Marcus Bent and Alan Stubbs in Europe's elite competition. But no, Duncan Fergunon's header in the second leg of the qualifier against Villarreal, which would have sent the tide extra time, was ruled out, and I still have no idea why. Look, Pierluigi Collina was a world-class ref, even if he looked a bit like an angry peanut, but I still can't work out why that goal wasn't given. Other stupid decisions include Tim Cahill getting sent off for taking off his shirt. Fulham. I'm going to go back to September 2004 for this one, when Arsenal were virtually unstoppable. This was their 43rd consecutive unbeaten game. Good job Arsenal Fan TV wasn't around back then. they'd have made about 30 quid in total. Anyway, Fulham were dispatched 3-0 at Craven Cottage, but I mean, they could have taken the lead in the first half before Mark Halsey just changed his mind about awarding that penalty, after enough Arsenal players had surrounded him, of course. Although, to be fair, that Arsenal team was made up of Robert Pires, Jermaine Pennant and Jose Antonio Reyes. All in all, about as intimidating as a tub of ice cream. Huddersfield Town. Again, having a referee change their mind over a penalty must be infuriating. It's like a woman accepting your proposal and then just saying no once the whiskey wears off. In a goalless draw at Cardiff in January, Lee Mason awarded the Terriers a penalty with 40 minutes left on the clock. But no, the assistant referee told the ref to change his mind. God knows why. Within 2 days, David Wagner was gone and they've pretty much lost every game since. Leicester City. I'm gonna go with Leicester versus Atletico Madrid, but not the one from 2 years ago. No, I'm going to go back 22 years for this one, in the UEFA Cup. The Foxes were playing in Europe for the first time in 35 years, and were dumped out after the referee dished out a second yellow card to Gary Parker for taking a quick free kick. I would imagine Martin O'Neill spent the next few hours choking on his own rage. Liverpool. Small decisions can impact title races massively. Like this season when goal line technology stopped Sadio Mane from putting Liverpool ahead of the Etihad. 5 years ago, that's exactly what they did through Raheem Sterling, but only for it to be chalked off for offside. Offside, are you mental? If he scores that, Liverpool win that game and probably go on to win the title, and Steven Gerrard doesn't spend every waking moment of his life wishing he was dead. Oh, and of course a special mention has to go to Darren Bent's winner for Sunderland via a beach ball 10 years ago, after the ball went into the goal after bouncing off a beach ball. Clearly the ref hadn't read part of the rulebook where it says that outside agents, i.e. things chucked onto the pitch, whether it be a beach ball or a pig's head, should bring about a drop ball if they interfere with the play. And so Liverpool wouldn't have lost that game, and some spotty kid from Bootle wouldn't have had to put up with death threats for the next 3 weeks. Man City. Some City fans are probably still spitting rage at that VAR decision in the Champions League. But no lads, the correct answer is Peter Crouch's goal for Stoke City. Not the one where he morphed into Zidane and smashed home from about 40 yards. No, this was 6 months later in a 1-1 draw. A much scrappier goal. Look, it must be a nightmare to mark Peter Crouch, alright? I would imagine it's like trying to stop a human lamppost. But yeah, against City, he handballed it before firing past Joe Hart. I mean, it wasn't even the first handball he'd scored either. Man United. I know what you're thinking.
Oh, Man United don't get any bad decisions against them because Howard Webb spent 20 years
terrified that Sir Alex would batter him at any second. Well no, come on lads, there was that time that Ashley Williams not only avoided a card, but got away with 12 years of jail time after clearly trying to murder Robin van Persie in front of the watching world by kicking a ball off his head.
He could have been killed.
But no, I'm going with the decision that could have robbed English football of Jose Mourinho. Had this goal from Paul Scholes in a 2004 Champions League quarter-final been rightfully allowed and not deemed offside, United could well have won that Champions League. Chelsea would probably have appointed Sven-Göran Eriksson, and Mourinho would still be stuck at the back arse of Portuguese football. Then again, Eric Djemba winning a Champions League is just too fucking weird. Oh, and a shout out to Didier Drogba's blatantly offside goal 6 years later that effectively wrapped up the title at Old Trafford. If he was any more offside, he'd be at the airport queuing for a flight. Newcastle. I was genuinely sad when I heard that Czech Teode had passed away. And of course, rest in peace, but at least wherever he is now, he no longer has to put up with incompetent refereeing decisions. Teode never used to score many goals, but when he did, they were absolutely unbelievable. Sadly for him, the second goal he scored for Newcastle, a 25-yard equalising volley against Man City at St James's in January 2014, was chalked off by the ref for no real reason. Well no, to be fair, the reason was that young Gouffran was in an offside position and interfering with Joe Hart. As you can see, Gouffran is interfering with play about as much as the tea lady. Anyway, Newcastle went on to lose 2-0 and Teode never scored another goal. But oh yeah, a special mention to Mark Halsey yet again for refusing to even book Callum McManaman after he nearly put Masadio Haidara in a wheelchair. Never mind a yellow card, if you tried that on the streets of England, you'd be chucked in the slammer for 7 years. Southampton. Remember last November when Charlie Austin nearly started crying on camera? Demanding VAR after his goal was ruled out by Simon Hooper, with the ref ruling that Maya Yoshida interfered with play from an offside position. I mean, he wasn't, and it ended 1-1 with Watford. Tottenham. This was arguably the beginning of the VAR conversation. Back in January 2005 when Pedro Mendes booted a hopeful punt from 50 yards in the last minute. First, Roy Carroll grabs it out of the sky, and then remembers that he is in fact Roy Carroll, and so even the most basic of goalkeeping reactions are clearly beyond him, fumbling it into his own net. Yes, he scooped it out, but no, you didn't do it in the nick of time. My god, the ball is practically kissing the back of the net. Watford. Imagine in September 2008, you're a 25-year-old referee, barely being taken seriously by your own mother, let alone professional footballers, with some of them old enough to be your dad. What he would have wanted to do was impose himself, show himself to be a strong, level head, and that he doesn't falter under pressure. Yeah, he did none of that, allowing Reading a goal against Watford after he thought the ball had crossed the line. To be fair, maybe it was the linesman's fault, but I mean, where? Literally where, lad? Because that ball goes nowhere near the goddamn goal. West Ham. If you're ever stuck for bad calls, just type Sam Allardyce and referee into Google. You'll have material for days. I'll admit I can't remember this game, but Big Sam was spraying with the same venom that he usually reserves for the pizza delivery guy if he's 5 minutes late. I mean, probably. April 2013, West Ham were 2-1 up against Man United before Robin van Persie scores an offside goal with 17 minutes left. Wolves. For Wolves, I'm actually going to step away from refereeing decisions for a minute and just focus on what I thought was one of the biggest jokes in English football. In December 2009, Mick McCarthy rested 10 players for the trip to Old Trafford. Obviously a pragmatic choice considering whatever Wolves team he chucked out, they were obviously going to get battered around the place. But it wasn't as if he was sending out a bunch of 15-year-olds and chucking the tea lady in goal. It was a weakened team, sure, but I mean, it was still a group of lads plucked from the same Premier League squad that, you know, you're supposed to admit at the start of every season. The FA fined him £25,000 for not fielding a good enough team. How do you think that made poor old Kevin Foley feel? Or Andrew Sermon, with a bunch of suits at the top, basically punishing their manager for daring to give them a goddamn game. If you're going to start fining managers for picking a shit team, then by all rights Graham Souness should be bankrupt and squatting in the sewer after the amount of times he picked Boomsong and Titus Bramble. Anyway, that's the end of the video, lads. Like I said, let me know your worst refereeing decisions in the comment section below. If you've liked the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.